Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Tuesday, August the 26th. We have made it through the roster cut deadline. We have an initial, I repeat, an initial. Initial is the important word, the word of the day. The first draft of the Titans' initial 53-man roster to talk about. Now, this could be very different by the time we meet tomorrow. It could be very different by the time that Easton sits with you on Thursday. I'm taking tonight because I wanted to be able to react to the roster cuts, and Easton was kind enough to accommodate my wants and needs. So we will talk about the initial 53-man roster, if there were any surprises that were there for us, if there was anything that was outside of the ordinary, and things that we can expect that will come in the following days. This is going to be in flux, and I feel like I say this every year, so I apologize if I'm in reruns. But I do feel it bears worth repeating. This shit's going to be fluid basically until Thursday before the game in Denver. So Thursday of week one, what is that? Like the 4th, September the 4th, September the 5th? No, it's the 4th. September the 4th, this roster is going to continue to be churned. There will be players picked up off waivers. There will be free agents that are signed. There will be players on the current roster that will be waived once again. There will be a practice squad formulated. There are many, many transactions that are yet to come as we work towards week one. Now, the regular season is all that lies ahead at this point, but you have to understand, and I know most of you understand, and probably the vast majority of you understand, that these things are always fluid. And especially, I know you've heard this a million times too, so again, apologies for the reruns, but you do have the number one overall waiver claim for at least the next, I think it's 3 weeks, Robert, 3 weeks to the better part of a month, basically, with the Titans having the number one claim in the NFL's waiver claim order. This is something that we know is going to be utilized early and often by this Tennessee Titans roster as we work towards putting together, as they work towards putting together the best possible roster that they can. Now, Mike Borgonzi is not going to speak. They've changed the schedule on us 4 or 5 times at this point because Borgonzi was supposed to speak tomorrow, and now he's going to speak on Thursday morning at 10 a.m., which means that, I don't know, are you guys going to let me go to the press conference, or are we just going to carry it live and I'm going to be chained to the radio show on Thursday morning, Robert? Have we made that determination yet or not?
What are you going to ask?
That's a good question. It depends on who's still here on Thursday or who's not here on Thursday. I'm probably asked. They have every tackle under the sun, it seems, other than Jalen Duncan. Jalen Duncan can kick rocks, it seems, as they clear out the last vestiges of Rand Carthon draft picks. But yeah, it'll probably have something to do with their offensive line unit, their depth, and what they saw in guys like Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon. And probably the discussion around the depth cornerback. You brought it to my attention today. The Ravens corner, whose name escapes me off the top of my head. What's his name?
Jalen Armour-Davis.
Jalen Armour-Davis. Guys like that, maybe they'll have been claimed by the time we get to Thursday. I think that they are putting us off until they have the opportunity to put a practice squad in place and make some of those waiver claims, because there's players all over the board right now, maybe not so many, but there's players all over the board that I would be curious to talk about. So I have questions prepared.
And if Titans fans are excited out there, Tehran has done an incredible job following the waivers from a Titans fan perspective. Put out today about Juju Brents, was a second-round pick for the Colts, had a decent rookie year, got hurt last year, cut. So he will be subjected to waivers. If the Titans like him, they'll get a swing at him. So Tehran does a fantastic job in everything he does, yes, but he does. I especially enjoyed his waiver coverage.
Yes, he has been very thorough today. You know, we're not doing the 615 sessions anymore, but maybe we bring it back on a regular basis. Maybe we start our own YouTube channel for the 615 sessions podcast. And I get why it wasn't something, or maybe we just put it on the radio show. I don't know. We could do it on the radio show and have, I guess we can't have Tehran on the radio show. That was the beauty of the podcast. Either way, we don't have to spin our wheels on that. We are talking about the roster as it's currently constructed and what we think will continue to happen moving forward. Josh asks an important question. Are they number one claim on every player? So they are number one in the waiver claims process. there are players, and I'm sure many of you have heard this before. Again, I apologize if I'm repeating a bunch of things that you know, but we are number one in the Titans are number one in the waiver claim order. If a player is considered a vested veteran, then those players are not subject to the waiver claim. For example, James Prochet was released. He was not waived. The difference between that is that James Prochet has 3 accrued seasons of NFL service, meaning that he is not subject to the waiver claim order, meaning that he is immediately an unrestricted free agent, meaning that he can negotiate, or his representation can negotiate a contract on his terms, as opposed to players being waived and then you claiming them and their current contract situation. More often than not, it's UDFAs, it's guys who didn't make it through their rookie deals on other teams, but not every player is subject to the waiver claims.
I think, okay, that may have been his question, but I think he means every player that is subjected to waivers, are they the number one? Which,
yes.
So they can pick up as many of these dudes as they want. It's not like, okay, you wasted the number one waiver and now you have to wait for a full pass. Like, you can pick up as many. I thought that's what his question.
And it could have been, Robert. It's very broad, the nature of that question. So we've covered both of our bases there. Yes, you are number one in the waiver claim order. Not every player that was released today. Players that are released are different than players that are waived. Is the only point that I'm trying to make. Eric says, so waiver players are guys still in their rookie contracts? Not necessarily. It just means that guys who have not had 3 accrued seasons. The definition of accrued seasons, I feel like it's like 8 games on the active roster or called up on a game day roster in a season mean an accrued season. So, for example, and this is nuts and bolts here, but you guys are these are good questions to ask, because it does matter as you're constructing a roster. For example, Mason Kinsey is a player that was cut previously. Prior to last season, Mason Kinsey would have been a player that was waived. Mason Kinsey has been on the active roster or on a game day roster enough times to qualify as a vested veteran, to qualify for the NFL's pension, which is also something that matters very much for these guys, because obviously that matters for their future financial viability. It's 6 games, 6 games to get credit for a season, not even playing, just being on the 53. That is what constitutes an accrued season by the NFL and NFLPA standard. So, like I said, maybe too much detail there, but it's good detail for you guys to know. And obviously we remind you of it at this time every year. So we have a roster, but we'll go ahead and do the necessary things. Welcome to A to Z Sports Prime Time. We're made possible by the wonderful folks at Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, and TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free. Share the broadcast around. You know the vibes. We don't need to spend more time than necessary on that. Text this link to a friend, like the video as you want, and we do appreciate your participation. It's lovely to see all of you guys here. There are already things that are happening that were not recorded according to the NFL's transaction wire, because every day that the NFL is in season, teams, clubs are required to submit whatever transactions they might be making by 3 p.m. Central Time. So by 2:59:59, all of these things have to be sent into the league office so that they can be documented, they can be cataloged, they can be sent out via press release or what have you. 2:59:59 every day during the NFL season is when every club in the NFL has to have their transaction submitted. So things like Shy Tuttle, for example, would not show up on today's transaction sheet, because that is not a transaction that the team submitted today. That was a transaction that was reported by Adam Schefter, but not a transaction that the team made official today, just working through the phases of this. So there's a lot of different things that are going on right now, which is why I wouldn't get too caught up in the things about this roster that we have in front of us right now. Obviously, players 1 through 46 are guys who are going to be here on a week-by-week basis, who are not going to be subjected to being waived, being released, potentially being dropped down to the practice squad, all of the different things that can happen to players 47, we'll say, to 53. If you're 47 to 53, on any NFL roster, you're probably still liable to get waived, cut, released, what have you. These are the kind of things. These are the kind of things that we see on a regular basis, and that's year long, right? That will continue into the NFL season because we know that the active game day rosters are players 1 through 48. And so 47 through 53, those things can kind of be in flux on a week by week basis. With everything that you have going on right now, just some highlights or lowlights, because obviously it's a tough day in the NFL when guys lose their jobs this way. And it doesn't mean that their NFL careers are over, but it does mean that these are situations that, at least for now, they have been derailed. So today's transactions, they had 16 transactions yesterday. Here's the rest of the list that the club put out. So waived, again, subject to waiver claims, meaning other teams can claim these players off waivers. But remember, when you claim a player off waivers, that player cannot go onto your practice squad. That player has to be signed to your 53. So any of these following names, if they were claimed by another club, not named the Tennessee Titans, they would have to be on that team's initial 53-man roster. We'll just go through the list. Brian Asamoah, the linebacker. Kendall Brooks, who had the pick 6 in Atlanta. Drake Dabney, tight end. Jalen Duncan, the tackle. Ali Gay, outside linebacker. Cam Horsley, who I thought had a chance to make the roster. I'm going to talk to Cosell about a lot of this on Thursday morning when we do the install. Jermar Jefferson, Jordan Mims, the 2 running backs. Mason Kinsey and Xavier Restrepo, who I know a lot of you are rooting for, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we told you that he was not a candidate really to make the 53-man roster. He is a candidate to make it onto the practice squad. There is a level of expectation that he is not going to be claimed because, again, there are just simply limitations that he has. And if he ends up on the practice squad here, that's all well and good. So Kinsey and Xavier Restrepo, tight end Thomas Odukoya, nose tackle Isaiah Rakes, Andrew Rupchich, the offensive lineman, and Josh Wiley. All of those players can be claimed by 31 NFL clubs in the waiver order. You have the number 1 waiver order. The rest of it, I'm pretty sure, just looks like the draft order at the end of the season. So that is the list of players that were waived. Now for players who were released because they are vested veterans. Brendan James, offensive lineman. Blake Lynch, linebacker. Amani Oruwariye, I think I got that right, the cornerback who was just constantly getting burned, number 31. James Prochet, which was, I think, a surprise to most of us. Trevor Siemian, so they're going to at least initially roll with 2 quarterbacks on this active roster. And then Carlos Watkins, the veteran defensive lineman. They placed Tajay Spears on injured reserve. He is also designated to return from injured reserve, but he must miss the first 4 games of the season. We all knew that that was going to be the plan at this point in time. So those are players that you have jettisoned. Were there any surprises there for you? And the question that I'll ask you, your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch in the comment section, if you would like to participate there, we hope that you do, is what do you like or dislike? You can submit either. You can submit both if you want to, based on the moves that the Titans have made right now. What do you like or dislike, or both, most about the Titans' initial roster? I'll give you the highlights of the initial roster here in just a second, but those are the transactions that the team made today. You know, the transactions, obviously, that they made yesterday, as we talked about those yesterday. But is there something in particular that you liked? Is there something that you didn't like? What stood out to you most about the Titans' initial 53-man roster and the players that were waived, released, or in the case of Tajay Spears, placed on injured reserve? It is, of course, your Two Rivers Ford take, and your Two Rivers Ford take is, of course, made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service is what they offer. They are the uncar dealer kind of car dealer. What do I mean by that? Most people think of a car dealership as a place that tries to hurry and pressure you. That's not Two Rivers Ford. At Two Rivers Ford, they have a non-commissioned sales team, so they get paid whether you buy a vehicle or not. Their only job is to help you find the perfect ride. So if you're in the market for a vehicle, go to the uncar dealer, car dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. TwoRiversFord.com for more information. What did you like? What did you not like? Do you have submissions for both? let me know in the comment section, and we will talk at length about it. So let's see. I see Jonathan Caverly says the biggest surprise to him wasn't so much the guys that they kept, but all the offensive linemen that they did keep. And again, that's subject to change because there's 11 of them right now. So Oli Udo, the reserve tackle, John Ojukwu, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. I'm speaking too quickly. Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. I think, Robert, is he the only undrafted rookie free agent to make this roster? I think he may be. Jackson Slater, the 6th round pick, Blake Hance, Corey Levin, J.C. Latham, Kevin Zeitler, Dan Moore, Peter Skoronski, Lloyd Cushenberry makes 11. Will they have 11 going into week 1, going into Denver? Probably not, but they are keeping as many of them as humanly possible. They want options on the offensive line. I don't think any one of you would blame them for having options on the offensive line. We thought they may go heavy at wide receiver. That was really not the case. They ended up with 6 wide receivers, and it was a pretty standard order of operation there for the wide receivers. The odd man out there is James Prochet, but there is also a possibility that Prochet is back on the roster before week 1, right? These things continue to be fluid. More comments here from you guys. Eric Alonso says Xavier Restrepo moves slower than my granny in Kroger's. I love that he says Kroger's as opposed to Kroger. That's how you know a real one. And listen, people like Xavier Restrepo. Many of you are tired of hearing about Xavier Restrepo. I am honestly tired of talking about a player who is not of great consequence. But again, I understand the significance of the story. I understand why people wanted him to make it. He is slow. He is physically slow. I don't think he's mentally slow, and we're not in a position to judge that. Or at least we wouldn't be right now in a position to judge that. There are some players who don't necessarily pick up on things as quickly as others, but his limitations are his speed and his size. He is not able to physically overcome some of the deficiencies that he has right now. It doesn't mean that his NFL dream is dead. They are optimistic about getting him back on the practice squad. But again, I will remind you, the reason they are optimistic about getting him back on the practice squad is because they don't think 31 other teams will put in a claim on him. So he will go through 31 other teams with the opportunity to submit a waiver claim, but would have to be put on their active roster. They're rolling the dice pretty comfortably and saying, yeah, we don't think 31 other teams are going to add this guy to their respective active rosters. We'll take him, but we'll take him on the practice squad, and we'll take him basically at our leisure. So dream doesn't have to be dead. NFL career doesn't have to be over, but there are things that he's not good. He's not good enough yet. I think that's as kind a way as I can say, because Jesse Hernandez says he or she, forgive me, I can't tell based on the picture. I can't see there. Maybe a he. Says, I hate that Xavier Restrepo isn't on the 53 yet. I do not. Injuries could happen. It could always be a scenario in which if they get down to Xavier Restrepo on the 53-man roster, respectfully, you're fucked. Like I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean. Like bad things have happened if Xavier Restrepo ends up on your 53-man roster. Again, 31 other teams are going to have the opportunity to add him to their 53-man roster. I do not think that there are going to be a great many of them that do just that. Amar says, you were tired of hearing about X-Buck, not me. You were tired of hearing about X-Buck, not me. Oh, okay. You're saying that you are not tired of hearing about Amar. Yeah, sure I am. I mean, it's a non-issue, right? But I get why there's questions, and that's part of my job is to answer those questions. So that's all well and good at this point in time. Josh points out correctly, work ethic, but not the athleticism. Again, let's not get hung up on Restrepo unless that's really the thing that's stuck in your craw. I don't think it's really necessary to spend more time than we should. Now, James Prochet here is the interesting one. James Prochet is the thing that probably caught me the most off guard. I thought there was a really strong chance that he would be on the initial 53-man roster because they need a punt returner. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't, add a guy off waivers to be their punt returner. Deuce Vaughn is somebody who I saw the Cowboys waived today, who's played special teams for John Bones Fossil, your current special teams coordinator. And I think that in so doing, you could see a scenario where they claimed a guy off of waivers in the next. We're less than 2 weeks away from week 1, but they could find a punt returner on waivers and say, "All right, DK, we appreciate that you are capable and that you're working to try and do these things," because they gave him opportunities in that final preseason game to do just that. But that was really it. That's the first time we've seen him back there doing it. Doesn't mean that he hasn't practiced it at all, but in a game situation, that's the first time that we've seen him doing it. And James Prochet is the most capable punt returner on this football team. I would envision that he has, if you had to pick a player who was waived or released today or yesterday, who had the best percentage chance of being back on the roster, I would probably go in on James Prochet that way. He had a really nice training camp. As I said, he's the best punt returner that they have. They can try some different things out in the next couple of weeks. If they're not satisfied with that ahead of Denver, then they can always make a transaction and add him back to the 53-man roster at this point in time. There are many other things that were pretty routine here. Like if you just go through the roster math, 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, especially with Tajay Spears dealing with the injury. We knew that Chestnut and Mullings were most likely. I guess we made it a lot about, well, they'll probably go numbers heavy at receiver, and they didn't feel it necessary to do so. And that's all well and good. 3 tight ends, Chig, Gunnar Helm, and DMR. 11 offensive linemen is where the heaviest numbers are. 5 D linemen, 9 linebackers currently, counting edge guys and off-ball guys, 6 corners, and 5 safeties, 1 kicker, 1 punter, 1 long snapper. So that is your initial 53-man roster. That is where the numbers will be. Now, the practice squad stuff will start tomorrow. You will start to see players trickle in or trickle on to NFL practice squads as a result. Nothing really, there wasn't anything that I strongly liked or disliked about the Titans roster. Everything's just kind of chalk at this point in time. They have what they have, right? And now it will be about, okay, how much better can we get based on what we now have the opportunity to add to the roster? What they had on the roster was all well and good, but we understood that there were going to be limitations. This pass rush group is not something that you feel great about. They could still add players. This cornerback depth is horrendous. They are burnt toast if they get down past basically CB3. And that's even counting L'Jarius Sneed. I don't know how much faith or how much confidence we're putting in L'Jarius Sneed at this point in time. It would be difficult to have much confidence in L'Jarius Sneed at this point in time. But right now, they have what they have. The waiver claims will allow them to add players from across the league. Free agency is still an option to them. Waiver claims is where they will be, where they will proceed to first. Jeffrey Mullen says he would like to see Deontay Johnson come in. Like Deontay Johnson, the guy that kind of quit on teams. Robert, didn't Deontay Johnson have 2 stints with your Ravens last year? Surely that person is not serious about. Is that a tongue-in-cheek comment? I'm not sure. What thoughts do you have on Deontay Johnson as a former
He
Raven?
sucks. He sucks. He didn't want to play for 2 different playoff teams. Dude was on the Steelers. He had a bad attitude. He wanted a lot of money. They're like, okay, we're going to ship you off for, I think it was Dante Jackson, a cornerback. He goes to Carolina. He has a good game. I think he had a game with over 100 yards.
He had
so the Ravens,
good
game. He wasn't bad, but he also didn't have to be the number 1 or number 2 option in Carolina. Then he gets traded to the Ravens, and dude gets butthurt that they ask him to go in when it's cold, and he's like, I don't want to go out there when it's cold. I might put bad tape out there. You're on a playoff team. Who gives a shit? Like, he gets cut. He leaves. Then the Texans pick him up in the playoffs. He can't stick on a playoff team with the Texans, who had so many injuries.
Playoff team number 2.
Playoff team number 2. They desperately needed anybody who could catch the ball worth a shit. And the dude wanted to quit on them too. So then the Ravens pick him up, I think a week before the Super Bowl, just so they had his comp pick rights to be like, okay, dude, like if you do sign, we're going to get something out of this. No, anybody that's going to quit on a team like the Texans or the Ravens, like he's sure as shit going to quit on a team like the Titans. So you do not want a cancerous wide receiver like Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, don't make Cam Ward's life harder. If the guy couldn't get up for C.J. Stroud or Lamar Jackson, what makes you think? And listen, you can be a believer in Cam Ward and also acknowledge, no, in what world would you try to actively, would you put a player in there who's almost actively undermining teams at this point in his career, and also said that when he was most recently a member of the Browns before he got cut, that Kenny Pickett was going to be the starting quarterback, and didn't know shit clearly about that either. So no, there is no interest. There should be no interest. You should not have interest in Deontay Johnson. I mean, I suppose you're allowed to have your opinion, but your opinion is wrong, and Robert just told you why. So no real surprises to me. I would keep an eye on a couple of different. I think Deuce Vaughn is interesting here. I think Audric Estime, the Broncos running back who was most recently jettisoned from their roster, is worth keeping an eye on. I think I brought up earlier Deuce Vaughn, the former Cowboys special teams player and running back who will be available there. I think that those are the kind of things, those are the kind of transactions that you'll see them try and make first and foremost. B. French says, are there any notable or good pass rushers out there after today? Well, no, because they would be on football teams if they were notable, good. Well, okay, notable and good fits the qualities of Zadarius Smith. And Zadarius Smith doesn't want to play for you. And also the Titans aren't interested. I mean, the Titans would be interested in Zadarius Smith if he wasn't interested in making more money than they are willing to pay him. The way that a front office executive put it to me when we were in, was that Atlanta or Tampa? I believe it was Atlanta. I think it was Atlanta. Basically, and not specific to Zadarius Smith, but just specific to guys who have accomplished things and are still available. Because Landon Floyd says, what about Zadarius Smith as a veteran edge? He don't want to play for you. He wants to play for a contender. You're not winning shit this year. And that's not worth you spending $12 million on. Anybody who's still out there, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, I don't know. There are other players, I'm sure. But if they are out there, it's because they want money. And you are not going to pay money as a team currently not in a window to legitimately win. Like, you may win more games, and you should win more games than you did in 2024, but it would be impossible not to because you were the worst team in football in 2024. They are not going to want to play for you. If anything, if they were going to play for you, they would want more money from you. And the way that a Titans front office executive put it to me about guys like Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, etc., is if they're out there, they want money. And it's hard for guys, and this is damn near an exact quote, it's hard for Clowney, right? Titans legend Jadeveon Clowney still out there in the wilderness. Andrew Reagan brings him up. It's hard for guys, this was the quote, it's hard for guys to go from making $12 million and being offered $2 million. The Titans are not going to pay them $12 million to come in here and play on a team that, best case scenario, wins 7 games in 2025. That would be stupid of the Titans to do that. It would be a waste of resources. And it would be a confusion. You wouldn't want a player that was just in it for the bag. Guys like that want to win. They want to win something of consequence. It's why Zadarius Smith was very happy to get traded from Cleveland to Detroit, because Cleveland wasn't going anywhere. And Detroit desperately needed a pass rusher like Aiden Hutchinson. So those kind of players are not interested in playing for you. They are only interested in playing for you if you pay significantly more than the next team, which is like Hopkins. D-Hop got the money from you and also got traded to a playoff team, a team that competed in the Super Bowl last year. Now, they got smoked in the Super Bowl last year, but still, Hopkins is one of the examples of, he knew you weren't going anywhere really in 2023, but he took the money because it was way more money than he was being offered elsewhere. Ridley, the same. Ridley took the money. Now, he may have been more optimistic heading into 2024, and then we realized how ill-fated the 2024 season was. But Ridley took the money. That was not up for dispute. They offered more money than the vast majority of teams, and also it was in a part of the country that Ridley wanted to play in as opposed to going to New England. Austin Hall says, I thought for sure they were going to sign Preston Smith. No, they were interested. It was reported by Jeremy Fowler, you are correct, that keep an eye on Preston Smith. But again, Preston Smith wants more money than you are willing to pay Preston Smith and should be willing to pay Preston Smith. You guys need to find long-term solutions. You need more Femi Oladejos. You can't just keep Draymond Jonesing your way through a pass rush year in, year out, just for the sake of winning one more game, maybe in 2025 than you otherwise might. That shouldn't be what they're about. So if I was you, while I understand you guys want to win as many games as humanly possible, you also have to understand that your roster has clear and obvious limitations in 2025, and that it's not. You want to be in position to win. You want to be in a position to go all in when your roster is ready for that to happen. That roster is not ready for that to happen. This defense is going to be below average to bad, I think, by any estimate at this point in time. So MB says, took more money. It was either here or Jacksonville for Ridley. Both teams stuck. No, New England. New England was also in on the Calvin Ridley thing, if you remember correctly. It was kind of like D-Hop. D-Hop had offers from New England. New England's been trying to get this damn wide receiver situation right at this point in time. Veneto says it correctly. Got to get help through the draft. And I know that the draft is a long time away and you got a full football season between now and the draft, but that's your football team keeps saying it, right? The Met, for what I don't give them credit for much because they've done a lot of stupid shit in the last couple of years, but they have hammered home this messaging to try and make you guys as realistic as humanly possible. Patience over panic. Panic would be saying, oh my God, look at our pass rush group. Let's just go pay Scenario Smith $15 million to come in here. To do what? Right? Go through the season, replenish your roster organically, get the best possible roster around Cam Ward. I don't think it should take more than 2 off seasons for you to get in this position, by the way. Like if you're doing this correctly, if you're hitting on your draft picks, if you're being judicious in free agency, I think in today's NFL, you can turn around an NFL roster in 2 years. You've just spent so much time shitting the bed via John Robinson and then Rand Carthon's free agency decisions and drafting Will Levis was also on Rand. Tajay, I feel so bad for Tajay Spears because it's just kind of like Traylon Burks. Like, well, Tajay's a better player than Traylon is, but he's just not healthy. He's not out there. So, it's kind of like a mark against Rand Carthon, and not because of the lack of ACL, the lack of knee ligaments at this point in time from a player who's not had that issue. It's not been an ACL or a knee issue with Tajay Spears. He has a high ankle sprain. He's had concussions. Those things have been difficult for him to overcome. It sucks because I think Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard would be really fun as a duo, and they're going to end up leaning heavily on Tony again, which was not what they wanted here. Jeffrey Mullins says Cole Strange was waived from the Patriots. Would that be a good steal from the Pats? No. Their offensive line situation is worse than you. If they don't want him, you shouldn't either. Respectfully. So let's keep it moving. And let's get to a gone viral video, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, because there will be more roster transactions for us to talk about tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to be with you guys tonight, obviously, which is not normally the case. Tomorrow we'll do another prime time. And then I'm going to Germany for the weekend, and we're going to let Easton handle Thursday prime time, which will be fine because Mike Borgonzi will give a press conference. There will be new information there. There's going to be roster stuff the rest of the week, into the weekend. These things will keep happening. There will be plenty of transactions for you to consume. What we talk about tonight will be different from what we talk about tomorrow night. That's just the nature of the business, and practice squad stuff will play itself out as well. Now, you thought you may have been able to avoid this on primetime, but you're not going to, and I'll explain what I'm talking about here in just a second. Right after I remind you that the primetime program is made possible by TrueMath Fitness. Go to TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMathFitness.com for more details. They are here to help you achieve your fitness goals. They're going to help me keep my fitness routine, even though I'm going to Germany for like 3 days. They're going to make sure that I have the opportunity to maximize my opportunities to work out. I'm not going to be in Germany long enough to get jet lagged because it's such a quick turnaround. Maybe there's also the possibility that I end up going to Milan for a night as well in the middle of all of this. But that's neither here nor there because I will be equipped to make sure that my fitness doesn't suffer, courtesy of TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. All right. So Veneto says Schnitzel. Yes, Robert played the Schnitzel song on the radio show today, which I've never in my life heard. But We have all heard of Taylor Swift, and that is inescapable. And I know you wanted to escape it here, but that's too bad because she got engaged today.
The love story, and Taylor Swift just said yes. The singer announced her engagement to fiance Travis Kelce on Instagram August 26th, 13 days after appearing on his podcast New Heights, where she announced her new album, The Life of a Showgirl. The caption to the Instagram photo said, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." The two have been dating for 2 years since Kelce used the podcast as his personal dating app, putting Swift on blast. He followed her to 14 Eras Tour concerts where she changed the lyrics to her song, "Karma is the guy on the Chiefs coming straight home to me." She has attended his football games for 2 seasons, cheering for him, and wrote the song So High School about him, which is the song she chose on Instagram for the photo carousel. She has said that Travis is her human exclamation point. No word on when the two are getting married.
Robert got why can I not see me? There we go. Robert got so mad at me for having him pull that. That's courtesy of Brian West. So the Tennessean has an exclusive Taylor Swift reporter. And I discovered this today because of the news. Her engagement became public to Travis Kelce while we were doing the radio show today. By the way, God tier prenup in the works at this point in time. I found out that the Tennessean has an exclusive Taylor Swift reporter. That Taylor Swift reporter has 52,000 followers on Instagram alone. Insane. I texted Robert and I said that I got into the wrong business. I should have been a Taylor Swift reporter. I could have made significantly more money on social media with 52,000 followers just covering things like album releases and engagements on Instagram to Travis Kelce. Craziness. It is going to be a circus when the Chiefs come to Nashville. I don't know if she'll be on tour by that point in time. I'm sure the tickets are already outrageous at this point. If they weren't already out of this world as far as the price point, I'm sure they're going to be even more now that Travis Kelce, when the potential for a Taylor Swift cameo at Nissan Stadium in Nashville will drive those prices even more through the roof. I'm sure the Chiefs fans will be there aplenty. I'm sure Taylor Swift fans will be. There will probably be more Taylor Swift fans at that game, Titans fans or Chiefs fans. It's crazy. It is absolutely insane. I don't know that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure there's things that have happened in pop culture that carry that kind of weight to them, but I mean, it's like Beatles-esque the international following that this woman has, and there's no disputing that she's got some level of interest. But yeah, I guess I should have been a Taylor Swift reporter instead of a Titans reporter because I would have been able to do way more with my platform. Yes?
Oh, yeah, because they would have loved how if you tried talking to Titans fans the way you talk to Taylor Swift fans the way you talk to Titan fans.
How do I talk to Titans fans? I'm
that
very
would
nice
go
to
over
Titans
swimmingly. It's like, oh, all of you Taylor Swift fans act like you know her lyrics. Like, you guys don't know her lyrics. Like, I'm actually in here at Taylor Swift concerts. Like, I know what she's really saying. She's saying it to me. You would be insufferable. They would hate you.
That's fine. I don't care
they
if
would
they
not
hate
follow
me.
you.
If I cared if they hated me, I wouldn't cover this damn NFL team. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
The
it's
hate
different.
has never bothered me. It's just I want the clicks. I want the traffic. I want the money. I like the money.
Except for women will just block you. Like, men will say in the comments and argue with you and be like, "No, you're stupid. That was dumb." Like, I feel like Cheyenne, for if something bothers her, she's gonna block it. So I feel like they would block you and they would be like, "Who is this arrogant Taylor Swift reporter? I'm tired of him doing his little swoops." Where you would be like, "Oh, you can't see it because of my holy
Get rid of your
jump
background. Get rid of your background. Do what you need to do. Show people the poverty that you're living in, as opposed to your. No, that's not poverty.
Oh, sorry, guys. Just had the 76ers. Oh, let me go outside really quick. Oh, yeah. Beautiful city. All right, I got to get back in my house really quickly. Walking down the street. All right, hold on. Okay, back home. Yes, back home. All right, in the show.
Jackie Hulbert says, you think Tennessee fans are crazy. Wait until the Swifties get a hold of you.
They would demolish you.
I'm glad you're right. They absolutely would. I'm glad that Vols fans aren't Titans fans because holy shit. Like, thank God that the Titans fan base is one of the smallest in the NFL because y'all are exhausting sometimes. And I love you, but y'all are exhausting sometimes. If you actually had the amount of fans that like a team like the Vols had, oh my God. I think I would rather be canceled as a Taylor Swift reporter. That's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out here with us. As is always the case, radio show tomorrow. We are going to be on from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. Come hang out. There will be transactions. We will talk about it at great length. I think we have, who do we have on the radio show tomorrow? Do we not? We don't have anybody on the radio show tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Wednesday. We don't typically have a guest on Wednesday. We'll have Nate Washington on Thursday, Brett Kern on Friday, Coach Mack on Friday. But no guests tomorrow, which will be fine. Me and Robert and Lucas will have a great time. We'll hang out with you, and we'll look forward to you guys participating with us from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone.
Mike Wilson.
Is Mike Wilson on the show? Do we know that for sure?
All right, 10:20. It's in the grid.
Is it in the grid? All right. Well, then Lucas booked Mike Wilson for reasons that are, and I love Mike, but I don't know why we're talking to Mike because
you didn't want him on the show. But tomorrow is also what's sweeping the nation, Wet Powder Wednesday.
Ah, yes, we do have Wet Powder Wednesday. Wet Powder Wednesday to react to things that happened across the league. We'll see you there.
Go home! Go home! Go home!